Aston Villa have signed the 17-year-old defender Kerr Smith from Dundee United for a fee that reportedly could rise to £2 million. Today, I'm joined by Ewan Smith, the Dundee United reporter for the Evening Telegraph and the Courier. It's great to have you on, Ewan. You follow Dundee United closely, obviously. So can you just tell us a little bit about who Aston Villa have signed?
Frankie, I think what they've bought is potential. Now, £2 million is a massive amount of money for Dundee United's point of view. Absolutely. I mean, it can make massive difference to Dundee United. But from Aston Villa's point of view, I don't think it's a huge investment. But what they are buying is real, genuine potential. We're talking about a player who has been involved in and around the Dundee United first team since he was 15. So Dundee United knew at that stage he was a player that was likely at some stage in the not too distant future to move down to England because he already had the attributes. The thing I like about Kerr Smith, there's a couple of things I like about Kerr Smith. They're signing a player who physically, he looks like a man. I mean, he's 17 years old. I mean, he's the youngest ever Dundee United player to start in a Dundee Derby match. He played at Celtic Park in front of 60,000 people at the age of 16 and held his own in a one-each draw with Celtic. But he looks, from a distance, he looks like a man. He's already fully developed. He's 6'2". He's very physically built. And I know down in the English Premier League, you look for players that have got that physical attributes, that ability. And I know that when he goes on a weights program down with Aston Villa, that he'll grow even more. So you're buying that potential. The other thing I like about him is his temperament. You're signing a player that's humble, that won't be going down there instantly thinking he's a superstar because he's signed for a massive club like Aston Villa. He'll be going down there thinking this is the next stage in his journey, and he'll know that he's got a few steps before he's going to be playing alongside John McGinn in the Aston Villa first team. So you're signing a player that's real potential, that physically looks like a man, and has got the temperament, I think, to make it as a top football player.
Yeah, I mean, he's debuted at 16, and I saw a highlights package of him, and I was kind of stunned at just how big he looked. Like he looks like a fully grown man already, almost reminiscent of Wayne Rooney back when he was coming through at the age of 16. So what is kind of Smith's best position? Where does he sort of prefer to play?
I've seen him playing a couple of roles for Dundee United. He's not played a lot of first-team football for Dundee United. That's one thing I would point out. I mean, he's only just over double figures in terms of the amount of first-team games he's played for Dundee United. However, I've seen a lot of his first-team games, and he's played in two roles. He's played central defender, and he's played as a right wing-back. And to be perfectly blunt, I think he's a central defender all day long. I'm not convinced he's a right wing back. He played in that role because Dundee United wanted to, because he's young, they wanted to see if he was capable of playing in different roles. And it's not that he was poor in that position. I just think that his physique, and I think that his positional awareness and his tactical, I think he's much more accustomed to being a central defender. The interesting thing is he started his career when he joined Dundee United at the age of 7. He started his career as a striker, and then very quickly they realised that he was more akin to a central defender. So I think you're signing a central defender. I don't think you're signing a wing back.
Okay, that might be useful for Villa because we do actually need another centre back at the moment. Though he might be a bit young, but who knows? I mean, if he's making first appearances in the Scottish Premier League, who's to say he won't be doing it in the English Premier League as well. But obviously, we've talked about him being a physical presence, but is he also good on the ball? Is he also like a good ball playing defender?
Yeah, he's quite comfortable with the ball at his feet, and he's very composed, I would say. I go back to that game at Celtic Park. Now, that was a massive performance. It was earlier in the season for Dundee United, and he was actually chosen ahead of a player, Mark Reynolds, who at the time he's played over 500 games. Mark Reynolds, very experienced defender, and there was an injury to Charlie Mulgrew, who you'll know played in English football, Scotland international. So Kerr Smith was called in to play alongside Ryan Edwards at the central defence, and his composure that day on the ball, his understanding, his calmness with the ball at his feet, I think these are all big attributes that you look at and you think that at the age of 17, he's already got that. You know, where's the development? And I think that's what Aston Villa are seeing. And I don't think they're the only English side that have seen that, because he was training with Manchester United the last season. He did do that, and there was a number of English clubs that were noting interest in him. So I think it's because of his physical attributes that we talk about, but his attitude and his composure. So I don't think he'll be in the Aston Villa first team next week. I think I would be mad to say that. But could I see him in 12 months' time? Yes. And could I see him as a player that's going down to maybe the Aston Villa Academy and learning his trade alongside other players who maybe don't have the first team experience? That's what you've got to remember. You've got players maybe that have come through the ranks at Aston Villa who are not yet played a first team game or not yet experienced a crowd. He's played in front of 60,000 people. He's played in front of a packed Dundee derby. He's shown himself live TV matches to be a player who can handle that pressure. So that's why I think he's maybe a stage ahead of the players who are already at the academy down at Aston Villa.
Okay, and is he kind of seen as a future star of Scottish football, I guess? Is he someone that you could see starring in as a Scotland international if his progression continues at the rate it is?
I think without doubt. Without doubt. And I think it's probably everything I'm looking at with Kerr is potential. I'm not expecting that to happen in the next 6 months. I mean, for whatever reason, we've actually got a very good national side at the moment. Yeah. Scotland's performing very well. You know, we're potentially going to go to the World Cup after getting to the Euros, which is incredible because we went over 20 years without getting to a major competition. We're very strong at the moment. We've got a very good central defence at the moment for Scotland. But he is somebody who's played, he's been integrated into the under-19 squad at Scotland. So he's on that pathway, and that pathway will accelerate very quickly if he does well down in England.
And how did Dundee United supporters feel about losing Kerr Smith? I mean, it's got to be a bit of a blow that this young kid's come through, and it's exciting to see him, and then he's straight off to Aston Villa.
Do you know what? I think the Dundee United fans are very understanding about it. I think it's been very much an open secret that Kerr Smith is not likely to be a Dundee United player for the rest of his career. I think it was very clear from a very early stage of him arriving into the Dundee United setup that this was a player that was going places. The Dundee United fans are accepting that this is the best thing for Kerr Smith. Mm-hmm. They're also understand they've been able to see him play for Dundee United, and I think he's left on incredibly good terms with the club. The club did a fantastic video. You've probably seen it, a wraparound video talking about Kerr Smith and his development and from the age of 7 all the way through, and it's quite clear from that Dundee United are using this as promotion to other young players who are maybe not at Dundee United, who have got potential, and say, look, come to us because we're not going to stand in your way. We're going to develop you as a player. He's been working with a manager at Dundee United who was until last year was part of the youth set up at Dundee United, so he knew him already, and he's been very, very clear and very brave in a lot of his managerial decisions this season in bringing young players through and giving them an opportunity ahead of somebody you might have more expected to play in games. So he's been developed very well by Dundee United, but I think they're proud of how they've developed him and looked after him. And I think the bond between Kerr Smith and Dundee United isn't going to go away anytime soon.
Right.
He's got a player at Dundee United, Ryan Edwards, who's 27, 28, he's from Liverpool originally, played down in, I think he played at Tranmere, he played in English football, and Ryan's really taken him under his wing, really seen the potential in Kerr, and because of that, I think the links are going to be very strong. So Dundee United fans have got absolutely no issues at all with Kerr Smith. They're just, I think they'll follow his career with interest, and like me, they'll be looking to see, can this young man, this young 17-year-old man, can he fulfill the vast potential that he's got?
Well, it's very exciting just hearing all that, particularly his attitude as well. I think it's such a crucial factor in how young players develop. I guess, Villa weren't the only team that were linked with him. Can you sort of name some of the other clubs that were interested? And you talked about him training with Manchester United as well. Did they try to sign him or anything like that?
I don't think there was a a tangible offer on the table from Manchester United after that. But I think there was very much notes of interest from a number of English sides. I mean, we could be talking double figures in terms of the number of English Premier League sides who noted real interest in him. Right. I think Everton had showed an interest in him. Crystal Palace has shown an interest. Celtic were linked heavily with him. The Celtic one would have been interesting because I would have anticipated his journey from academy player to first team would have been far quicker at Celtic than it will be down at Aston Villa. Yeah. I don't anticipate he'll go straight into the Aston Villa side, but he may well have been on the substitutes bench at Celtic Park straight away. But I think he's obviously, if the Celtic didn't come in with the firm offer, but I think if the two options were on the table, my understanding of Kerr was that I think he fancied English football, and he's patient enough to wait for his opportunity.
And going forward, what do you expect for Kerr Smith? And do you think a move to Aston Villa ultimately was the right decision to make?
I think it's the right move for him. I think it's actually one of these strange transfers that you don't normally see, where it's right for Aston Villa. You know, they've got a player at a relatively low output in terms of the overall financial picture at Aston Villa, who's got vast potential. For the player, he's going to a club who have got a history of developing young players and bringing on talent through the ranks. And Dundee United are getting quite a sizable amount of money with add-ons that can take it up to £2 million. That will really so. I think from that perspective, I think it's a good deal. For the future for Kerr Smith, I think the development at Aston Villa with somebody like John McGinn being an inspiration. Yeah. I mean, he will relate to John McGinn instantly because he's seen as this iconic Scottish figure, and John McGinn strikes me as the sort of person who would take Kerr under his wing and try and bring Kerr out of his shell. Because one thing I will say about him is he's quite a shy boy. He's quite quiet. He's not somebody who is going to be the life and soul of the party as soon as he goes in the dressing room. But that's maybe not a bad thing, because he's not going to go into the dressing room with this attitude already that I'm a big star and I'm coming in and he's going to just go about his business quietly behind the scenes. But maybe John McGinn, as we know, is a bit of a joker. He maybe is somebody that can bring Kerr out of his shell.
Well, that's all very exciting to hear. And as you say, John McGinn, he's kind of well known. It's been written about that he's somebody who helps bring some of the quieter players out of the shell and gets them involved. So I think that, when you hear John McGinn linked with so much money to, teams like Man United has happened recently, actually part of what makes him so valuable is what he can do off the pitch as well as on it. But Ewan, it's been absolutely brilliant to have you on. Could you let us know where we could find your work and find you online as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on. It's been a pleasure to talk to you. I'm in the Courier and even Telegraph. A lot of our work is online, so we've got an online first policy now. So the majority, every story we do goes online, and then it follows up in print. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm Ewan Smith, EWAN Smith PR at twitter.com. Yeah. So that's me. So you can follow me there. But yeah, I'm more than happy to talk to you anytime, and I will be watching with real interest to see how Kerr gets on at Aston Villa. They're a great club, Aston Villa. I mean, you've got a fantastic support, massive club in terms of potential, and I think up here, I mean, my boy's 15, my son's 15, so my son's a real fan of English football, and he loves Aston Villa because he loves John McGinn. It's John McGinn's just this, and he loves John McGinn not just because of how John McGinn plays football. He loves John McGinn because of the character John McGinn, as you're alluding to as well. He loves his sense of humour. He loves watching the little snippets of him when he does interviews, and he loves how down to earth John McGinn is. So for your sake, I hope John McGinn stays at Aston Villa and doesn't go to Manchester United, because are they a bigger option for him at this moment in time? I don't know. Yeah. I mean, Aston Villa seem to be resurgent under Steven Gerrard, so I'm not convinced.
Yeah, we discussed that heavily on our most recent podcast about how you look at Jadon Sancho and Donny van der Beek going to Manchester United in recent times, and something's just not quite right at United. It just all feels a bit off, as big a club as they are. But as Kerr Smith develops at Aston Villa, I'm sure that we'll discuss again his development in future. So, Ewan, it's been absolutely brilliant to meet you, and thank you so much for coming on.
Okay, thank you very much. Lovely. Pleasure to speak to you.